Alright, welcome to this demo of Mythos drift detection. In this early section here, you'll see we've got a brand new user, brand new project. It's a garden planning project. Spinning that up real quick here. Creating that project fresh. I have no memories, I have no assets associated with my user or my project. I'm going through a few messages here, talking about what I'm going to plant in the garden, talking about the garden beds. I want to create 4x8 garden beds. We start talking about irrigation systems here, and you'll see that I keep focusing over at the drift meter on the top right. Because we're staying on topic, that is staying at 0. But as we start to shift to talking about my wood deck that I want to replace, you can see that drift meter is starting to tick up as we start to slowly drift off topic. Start asking about the type of wood, etc. And you can see that drift meter starting to spike up a little bit more. Still, the chat bot is not asking you to do anything. It's just monitoring the situation. And then here we start talking about a pergola, and then the drift meter's gone up a decent amount. So let's give it one more message here, talking about the deck, talking about lighting for the deck, solar or wired. And now we've reached the threshold, and now we're warning the user, hey, our conversation's starting to wander. We were talking about garden beds. Now we're talking about your deck. What do you want to do? Gives you a few options. In this case, we said, hey, let's shelve this idea for later. We're going to log that for review later. The drift meter's still up there until I say, hey, we're going to stay on topic. Let's put the decks aside and focus on that garden. Here in a moment, you'll see that drift meter will drop back down to just 1. So now we're back in the safe zone. We're back on target. Now I'm going to start talking about irrigation, and we're further on target, and you should see that drift meter drop all the way back to 0 now. So it's kind of monitoring your drift over the course of the conversation, and so as you steer back on topic, the drift meter adjusts accordingly. Now in this last example, we're making a hard pivot. I'm starting to ask about software development. At first it's a little bit wary, but start to ask about the engineering team and talk about their experience, etc. That drift meter is going to start to spike up again. Now what you're going to see that's different here as the drift meter spikes up, it's not going to reach the threshold, but because it is such a hard pivot, it's going to flag it immediately saying, hey, this is a completely different topic. In this case, I'm going to choose to spin up a new project based on this thread. So now that conversation gets split into 2 different projects, 2 different conversation threads. The chat from the initial session is moved over, and everything is clean. Context is preserved.